A temporary funding agreement for the U.S. government has been reached, and yes, you heard me correctly, I did say temporary. Early on November 10th, 2025, the Senate passed what is known as a CR, or Continuing Resolution, which will temporarily fund the government through January 30th, 2026. In this bill, you also have one full year of funding for a subset of agencies, those being the FDA, Military Construction and Veteran Affairs, and lastly, Congress itself. I mean, of course, Congress managed to fund itself for the whole fiscal year. After fumbling around and accomplishing next to nothing for the last 2 months, I think they've earned their pay, am I right? I say that satirically, of course, as we all know, Congress isn't dependent on normal government appropriations. Throughout shutdowns, senators and representatives still receive their normal pay. In other news, you have President Trump proposing a $2,000 stimulus check to lower-income Americans. It's the president's plans to pay for this stimulus with revenue collected from tariffs, although it's been made abundantly clear that the math isn't mathing in this situation. If you take a look at this chart, you'll see that revenue collected from tariffs for the year of 2025 is incredibly high. It's record-breaking, in fact, much higher than any year prior. And it's still projected the tariffs will bring in around another $40 billion for the months of November and December. So what's the issue, you might ask, if we have such an influx in capital? If you have just under $300 billion collected from tariff revenue, shouldn't that be enough to fund a $2,000 stimulus? Let me think. No, the short answer is no. It's said that the cost of this proposed stimulus will range anywhere between $450 billion to $600 billion, which no matter how you slice it is simply more than what we've taken in tariff revenue. So if by some miracle, and I do mean miracle, because Congress will need to vote on this, but if it does pass, don't be surprised if you see a massive rise in inflation. All that aside, you also have this viral video of 6 Democratic lawmakers informing all military personnel that it's their right to refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
Tonight, President Trump defending his suggestion that 6 Democratic lawmakers who put out this video telling troops they could disobey illegal orders were guilty of seditious behavior, punishable by death.
I'm not threatening death, but I think they're in serious trouble. In the old days, it was death. If I ever said that, and there were a Democrat as president, all hell would have broken loose.
Now, I believe they're mostly referring to National Guard troops that have been federalized and deployed to various states across America for the sake of security. Trump has now publicly stated that the actions of these lawmakers is seditious behavior punishable by death. While I don't know if we should be sending lawmakers to the gallows for videos and comments made online, I do know that it is your right as military personnel to refuse illegal orders. But it's an incredibly slippery slope and playing with fire, to say the least. It is not at all common for military personnel to be trained on or knowledgeable of military law or the UCMJ. If by some chance you weren't aware, if you refuse a order that you deemed as illegal, but the military court deemed as justified, all the fault and liability would fall on that military personnel that refused the order and no one else. So just be aware that it is incredibly risky attempting to refuse orders, and that if you do so and shit goes south, these lawmakers are not coming to defend you at your court-martial. Lastly, you have Congress voting to release more files in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, with lawmakers' final vote coming in at a resounding 427 to 1 in favor of releasing the documents. And my only question is, who is that one? Like, who's the one guy that said, guys, do we really need to release this? How about we just sit on this, really? Now, the president has always been vehemently opposed to the release of these documents, referring to them as a hoax and a distraction.
And Trump has said he would sign the Epstein documents bill. Still Tuesday, he bristled at questions.
You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax.
And called it a distraction, posting on social media he wants Republicans to focus on all of the victories since he took office. Jared Hill, CBS News.
But he has apparently flipped and stated he's in support of the release of these documents. And early on November 19th, 2025, he officially signed the Epstein document bill. So you can look forward to the release of these documents, whoever's been on the lookout for these. In conclusion, holy shit, is there a lot going on in the world today. But if you or someone you know found any of the information in this video useful, please be sure to like and subscribe. And I'd love to hear your opinions on all these topics down in the comments. I myself intend to continue posting videos on topics such as these and other topics I find interesting. So, good luck. Peace.